powerful black woman, let's get into it. So I want to clarify what the show is actually supposed to be about. The purpose of this show is to empower black women. That's the purpose of it. And my goal here is not just to talk about things that aren't necessarily going to be effective or that are not going to be relatable. The goal is to also create discernment amongst us when we're looking at things and being able to analyze things from a particular lens in which we're able to see sometimes through the purpose of things. So let me just read you this tweet from this black man that I posted on Twitter. It says, white women go from hoe to housewife all the time. Why is it a problem for black women? Let me read that again. White women go from hoe to housewife all the time. Why is it a problem for black women? Some people read this tweet and they say, oh, this is very mild. It's a very good question. There's nothing wrong with this actual particular question, because what he's trying to ascertain is whether or not we are being necessarily, branded or discriminated against, or we're treated differently. That's not what he is saying here. What he is saying here is that he is saying that we as black women, we are hoes for a lifetime, but your white counterparts, they refine themselves and you can't. And our responses to that comment were so mild. Let me just read you some of them, because it disturbed me and it bothered me. And then I'll get into why this was so disturbing. One person wrote, you thought about this at 7:24 a.m.? Yeah, he did. Great. Okay. And then someone said, probably wasn't a good idea to say this, and then made an emoji face like, ugh. Another person says, sounds like someone is hurt. Then another person says, white men have a problem with it too, but a lot of white women hide their hoe past and never tell their boyfriends, husbands about it unless they know for a fact they won't judge them. And then we even had someone, a black woman, defending this comment and says, why are y'all booing him? He's right. What's the difference? Ladies, this wasn't a compliment. This wasn't a compliment. He wasn't saying this as if he was defending black women. He wasn't saying this as if he was saying that there is this differential treatment and therefore we need to address this differential treatment, as if there's like this unified or universal belief system that black women can't go from a hoe to a housewife. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is that you black women don't have the ability to transition. White women have the ability to transition and become more refined. You don't have that ability. And what he's saying is that that's an innate problem. That is a problem with us categorically. That's what he's saying. And the reason why this is so problematic is because it is false. It is false. And interestingly enough, the people who were getting so angry about it weren't even black women. It was black men, and even a white man contributed to the conversation. Even a white man said this is not true. He specifically said, this is a lie, because them bitches is not getting wiped either. Laughing my ass off. Because what he's trying to say here is that a white woman can refine herself and then find herself a husband, because if you read between the lines, she is much more polished than you. She understands how to transform herself in order to make herself more amenable to a marriage or to a man or to a relationship. But you cannot. And you say, why can't you do that? Why can't you be more like them? So many people read that comment, and I think they thought it was very mild and meek and a very good question, and they thought that it was what he was actually trying to do is saying it's not fair, the judgment of black women versus white women. That's not what he's saying here. And I'm not saying that black women, we need to go in there and be combative. What I'm saying, though, is that we need to be able to understand that those kind of comments you're making don't deter people from making the kind of comments he's making. When you come in there, you're really mild and meek, especially the comments saying, no, it's not just us. White women have that problem too. Please don't judge us. The necessity for constant acceptance from men that denigrate you is why they can denigrate you. The reason why they can make these comments is because they are socially acceptable. Because we have made them socially acceptable. We have made it okay to discuss us in certain ways. And so when you just respond and say, this isn't a good idea to write this, or you wrote this at 7:24 a.m., or let me explain to you why this actually isn't true, doesn't change that dynamic. What it does, it just allows a person to continue to regurgitate these kind of things, which then start to transcend certain platforms and certain belief systems. If it was me, I would have probably said something much more aggressive, but not combative. I like it would have said something like, the problem is that you have not refined yourself. And until you refine yourself, you will not find a woman that is of high caliber because you are undeserving of a woman of high caliber. So maybe you should look inward and deal with the problems you have inside of you, and then maybe you can attract a more high caliber woman. I'm not going to allow you to believe that you can get away with making comments like that about black women and there are not going to be any consequences, or that I'm not going to retort in such a way that it's going to be kind of offensive to you or to make you have to evaluate yourself. It's not about us, it's about you. You need to evaluate your problems with yourself. We have to stop allowing people to do that. We have to stop allowing people to say things to us that are not true. That is not true. Black women are some of the most educated people in the entire country. The reason why you can't find a good one is because you are undeserving of a good one. That's the problem. Don't compare us to white women. Do not dare do it. Do not compare a population of women who are the anchor of this country, the foundation of this country, the queens of this country, to anyone else. And that, my friends, is a fact. We are the foundation. We are queens in this country. And don't let anybody ever take your queenship away from you. Beautiful black women, stay safe, blessed, and empowered. Join us again next time.